All right, folks, after UVA spotting Duke, a little bit of confidence and a fairly sizable lead, we cut into it a little bit. But Big Dave, welcome to the halftime show. You were at the game the other day. You're now watching from home. What do you see? What's going on with this?
I will say it's a lot different watching on TV than watching in person. I'm more critical watching on TV. In person, I'm just cheering more. But yeah, it was a great 3 days at the tournament. Had a lot of fun. But what I'm seeing is Duke is stinking tall, and we are completely out of our element anywhere inside 15 feet.
Yep.
And they have I think, taken us mentally out of being free to make shots in there, obviously physically as well. But it's going to have to be the guards making shots. I mentioned it before the game in the comments that Isaac is going to have to be more aggressive. He hit that one little 17-footer. He's going to have to take some contested shots and make some contested, like semi-contested shots, not just shoot the wide open shots because I just don't see Gardner getting loose in there. There's just too much size for him, and without the threat of Vanderplas as a big to take those guys outside, they're just clogging the paint.
T-Dub's good news is we only gave up 24.
Right.
We only scored 17, and a lot of it is, for me, I think that an indication that we're going to struggle on the interior. Well, I saw two sides in the last couple of minutes, right? I think I saw Gardner pull out, step all the way out, and take a three. I can't remember the last time I saw that was.
Yep.
But I also saw, I think our last 5 to 6 points were a result of us getting into the paint.
Right.
Right. So we actually are starting to touch the paint a little bit. Maybe whatever we're doing, maybe we're a little bit more aggressive. But a majority of our shots, as Dave said, coming from the perimeter. And we're, as you said, Dave, right before we went live, you asked Little Ski to put on a uniform and go hit some outside shots for us. Little Ski, you ready?
I'm more of a inside guy, so I might have to get some warm up shots in, but I think I could do just as well as we're doing right now.
All right, so Dave, what do we need to do to make an adjustment? Because we have to touch the paint. Unless we start shooting 60%,
Yeah,
and we haven't really done that except against Baylor, right?
I think it's Kihei's kind of getting swallowed up when he goes in there. He's gotten swallowed up like 3 or 4 times. So I don't know if I like him getting in there. I think I like Reese trying to get in there on drives, coming off those curl cuts. And then it's got to Kihei's off shooting again. His field goal shooting the last 5 games has not been on. I was watching in warmups too. He wasn't on. Reese hasn't been on. Now, the last 3 games live I was watching warmups. Reese has been off on his shot even in warmups. The guys that were, I would say the guy that's been on was Isaac. So I think he's got to play 14 minutes in the second half for us to have a chance, unless we can get Filipowski, or really it's Filipowski. If we can get him in foul trouble and get him out, I think maybe we just put our head down. Gardner puts his head down, pump fakes a little bit, tries to draw some fouls in there. I don't think we're going to get field goal attempts cleanly in there, but maybe we can do that like we did, like you mentioned, Mark, in the last 2 minutes. We got in there, drew some fouls. Of course, Armand can't go 1 for 4 from the free throw line. He's got to make his free throws. But yeah.
T-Dub, what are you seeing on the defensive end?
I mean, they're on the defensive end. We're, like you said, we held them down like pretty impressive. I think the issue is really their length is just bothering us. I mean, we're not going to score if we're going to. I mean, we're not going to win. Making whatever 7 shots and scoring 17. That's just not going to work. Seems like Reese driving to the basket has seen some positive. I don't know, decent looks. JG doesn't seem to be able to get over his guy. It seems like we're going to have to hit some threes to get back into the shoot over the length. Right? That's kind of the recipe for it. But the guys look a little tentative. I think that their length is really bothering us. So it'll be interesting to see how TB. I mean, Mark, how would you counteract the length and sort of shot that
I think that they're going to talk about the last couple of minutes and how we got into the paint, how we got to the free throw line. We've got to convert those. We've got to make those. Those are great opportunities. If we make the last 3 free throws, or if we don't go 1 for 4 and What are we shooting from the free throw line, Spence? Do you know by chance?
4 for 8.
Yes, yeah, 4 for 8.
4 for 8, right? So let's say we go 7 for 8 or 6 for 8. It's a closer game. It's not a 7-point game. It's a 4 or 5-point game. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Going with how we play specifically, right?
I mean,
because we know about our possessions. What are we shooting from the 3, Spence?
We're shooting 14%, 1 for 7.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
And 6 for 22 from the field, which is not good at all.
Right. So in that result
27%.
is 17 points.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So we're keeping them off the glass, I think, pretty well. And we've got to continue to do that. And I love our defensive effort.
Yeah, the defense looks great. It's just how are we going to score, right? Like how.
Here's the problem.
And so their free throw defense is tops. For sure.
So on the rebounding, Mark, you mentioned it. They only have 2 offensive rebounds, and they scored 2 points. We have 5, but we've only scored 3 points off those 5. We're not doing anything with them.
Right.
Yep.
And we just don't have the size. I mean, for me, you coach the same thing, Mark. When I coach my team, I tell them when they get an offensive rebound, they have about 0.4 seconds to put it right back up before the defense can react. It's like half a second. We don't have the length in there to put that back up, even when we do get an offensive rebound, so they're kicking it back out. So we got to figure out a way to, maybe we run offense some more off offensive rebounds, but it would be nice if we could get a tip dunk, a Cafaro tip dunk, a Shedrick tip dunk, something off a rebound that actually punishes them for not boxing out, because 5's a good number for us. That's a high number for UVA for offensive rebounds for a half, but only scored 3 points off them. That's just not good enough.
T-Dubs, what did you think of Ryan Dunn's minutes, and did you expect him to play a little bit more or a little bit less?
I thought he should have played a little bit more. I mean, he's the one guy that, in terms of athleticism, that seems to match up well. So I'm hoping we see a little bit more of him in the second half. Like JG, as great as he's been the last couple games, this is a tough matchup for him. The same with Kihei. It's a tough matchup for him. You saw right out of the gate, it went right at Kihei, right? And then those 2 matchups are tough. So I'm just curious, what's the counter here in the second half? And I'll leave it up to TB. He usually figures it out.
TB and his staff actually. Spence, can you evaluate Caden's first half?
Yeah, I thought that, overall, just we're getting dominated physically. Duke has a little bit more length, a little bit more size, but I think that just the mindset of the bigs has not been good enough, and it has not been as good as it has been in the last 2 games. We've been getting bounced around in the paint, and we're not playing with like an aggression that we had in the last 2 games. And I think that if we need to do that in the second half to bring this game back within reach.
Dave, what are you saying? You're Tony Bennett, you're Jay Willie, you're Kyle Getter, you're Brad. What are you saying to the team?
I would say keep what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing on defense. You got to be, like he said, you got to be a little more aggressive, because they have gotten a few good looks out of the double teams. They haven't made them. So that's a little bit scary. But on offense, they're not, and it is the 3rd game in 3 days, they're not as crisp and not as intentional on their cutting. They're a little bit slower. Duke's playing them a little bit differently because they know they don't have to guard the bigs. So their bigs are overplaying the guards coming off those screens a little bit and denying a little bit. So I would just say, cut harder, screen a little bit harder, and try to get into your offense in the first 15 seconds of the shot clock. You can't wait. You saw when it gets down to 7, their length, it's just too hard. So I think push the pace, get into your offense quicker, attack in the first 8 to 12 seconds.
Out of the 2 standard offenses we run, right? Sides, mover blocker, whatever you want to call it, 3-man game. What do you look for us to do in the second half? Which one do you look to execute more?
With the personnel of Shedrick or Cafaro's in, or Cafaro, as you say, I'm still going to call him Cafaro because he plays better when I call him that. But it's almost got to be mover blocker when one of those in. But if only one of them is in, then maybe you can run some continuity ball screen or some of the 3-man game. If you bring in small ball, and you take Gardner out, I kind of like taking Gardner out and putting Shedrick in with the 4 guards. Or take Kihei out. Kihei's getting swallowed up with his length too, and he's not making the 3. If he's not making the 3, maybe take him out for a while, put a McNeely, Beekman, Franklin, Dunn, and Shedrick. and then you could shut them down defensively out, maybe get out and get some runouts with the athletes and see if that can generate some momentum.
Yep. What are we seeing? Spence, have you been following Twitter? Have you been following anything online? What are we seeing?
Yeah, I mean, overall, just people are not happy with the performance. The shooting has been really bad. I mean, the percentages speak for themselves. And I think the shot selection has also been a big problem. I think that the shots we're taking have been not the best shots. We're shooting early in the shot clock, and it's not working out for us. We're taking contested shots, and obviously we're not hitting those shots. So I think that in the second half, that's something that we got to change.
T-Dubs, you're in at halftime. You're down 7, championship game. Again, in the back of your mind, you know this is not the last game of the season.
Right.
Are you tensing because you want this going so badly because it's Duke? Or are you like kind of chilling and relaxing? Knowing, guys, let's just play a little bit more free. Let's be okay.
Yeah, I hope they wake up here and know that this is, not as much pressure as they probably feel, and they can loosen up and have fun out there. I think it is as Ben said, the shot selection not great. I'm hoping they get Armand and Isaac in there and start shooting a couple deep and letting them fly. Having fun out there. It looks like it's pretty tense. You can kind of just tell every pass and everything is sort of like intensified. I guess is a championship. It's just kind of a wild experience, I'm sure. So we'll see how they react.
I mean, we're playing sloppy. I mean, you see some of those passes that Kihei's making, that Reese is making, that Armand's making. They're just not as good. They're not as sharp, and we're putting it in bad spots, and we're getting punished for it. So, I mean, we got to bring that around the second half and tighten up for sure.
7 turnovers, to your point, Spence. 7 turnovers between the 3 of those guys. 2, 3, and 2 turnovers.
I mean, this Duke. Duke has the athleticism. If they don't have the discipline, probably through the regular season, to play this level of defense all year. We're seeing it now. Probably, for the first time, can they keep it up for 40 minutes? That's the question, right? Can they stay disciplined? Can they continue this? We'll see.
And
this is the lowest scoring first half we've had this season.
Our defense has been pretty good. Our defense is forcing them to take some bad shots as well.
Yeah.
Right. And we're rebounding. We've given up 2 offensive rebounds, Dave. Is that what it was?
2. That's it.
2 offensive rebounds. We're forcing them some tough shots. 24 points, giving up 24 points. I wonder if that's Duke's lowest first half.
Yeah, we're only down 7. Well. So hit a couple of shots, some free throws. We're back in this thing.
Absolutely. We were fairly confident before the game started, especially how we've been playing the last 4 or 5 games. How are you guys feeling now? How do you see us in the second half? Are we going to overcome that 7-point lead, or what do you think, little skinny son of a who?
I think that we just need to tighten up the mistakes. I think that if we could play our best, or not even our best, I think if we play as good as we have been the last couple of games, I think that we could definitely turn it around. I don't think that Duke is playing any better than they did in the game that we were at in Charlottesville, but I just think that we are not playing well. We're not taking good shots, and we're not coming out ready to play.
So I think, Dave, you pointed this out earlier. We don't have BVP, and we ran some 3-man game. And we were getting some open looks at the top of the key against Duke, and they also went to a little bit of a zone at home when they played us at JPJ.
Yep.
I haven't seen it, but perhaps they did. I didn't see it without BVP and being able to stretch the floor a little bit. And T-Dubs, you talked about it a little bit too, with Jaden Gardner's might be a little bit of a matchup problem in today's game. Dave, are you feeling confident? And you don't need to say yes. You don't need to say yes just because you're on the locker room access halftime show.
Here you go, Mark. We've talked a lot about postseason. Postseason's when every team knuckles down and focuses for 40 minutes, right? So that's why talent usually wins more often than not in the postseason in most games, because everyone's going to focus a lot more on every possession. So to Spence's point, are they going to be able to focus for the last 18 minutes against us? We'll see. But that's generally what tends to happen. I've seen Duke a little bit. I saw them. I was there against Miami. Man, they were locked in against Miami. Miami was getting threes because they had all guards because O'Meara was out. But yeah, I mean, we'll see if they can, but that's usually what happens. And without the length against them, if they stay focused, it's really going to be difficult without hitting three. Let's go back to it. Armand and Isaac are going to have to hit threes. They're probably going to have to combine for at least 5 threes this half.
Well, Armand just came out and hit a big 3 to start off the second half.
There you go.
We're live now, back in Greensboro. We'll see you guys at full time. Let's go, Hoos.
Let's go.
Let's go.